Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to study active and passive voice. So let us proceed. Before starting this topic, let us know about the formation of an assertive sentence. So we have an example here. Ritu eats Nutella. So in this case, Ritu is the subject, eats is the verb, and Nutella is the object. So as per English grammar, an assertive sentence is written in this format: subject plus verb plus object. So this is the format. And now let us talk about the definition of active and passive voice. See, in very simple terms, in a sentence, in a general sentence, when the subject is performing an action, that is called active voice. And when a subject is not performing any action, it is just affected by that action. That is called passive voice. Let us have an example to understand this concept. Ravi killed a snake. Now Ravi, that is the subject, is doing the action. It is the doer. So this is an active voice. This sentence says Ravi, our subject, what he did? He killed a snake. Ravi is the subject and the verb kill expresses the action done by Ravi. So this verb is said to be in active voice. Now let's have an example of passive voice. Here our subject is a snake. A snake was killed by Ravi. Now you can see the subject is not doing any action. No action is being performed by our subject. Here the action is being performed by the object. And who's being affected by that? The snake. The snake is affected by the action. So it is in passive voice. The sentence says what was done to a snake. A snake is the subject, but the verb was killed does not express any action done by the subject. On the other hand, it expresses the action suffered by it. So it is said to be in passive voice. So I hope this concept is clear. When the subject is performing the action, active voice. When the subject is being affected by the action, that is called passive voice. Rule of active passive voice. Any sentence is always written in this format: subject plus verb plus object. Any affirmative sentence or any declarative sentence, it is written in this format: subject plus verb plus object. Example, she reads books. So she, subject, reads is the verb and the object is books. So the rule is subject becomes object, object becomes subject, and the verb changes to third form. Subject becomes object, object becomes subject, and the verb changes to third form. Now example explaining the rule. Ravi writes letters. This is the example. Now, Ravi is the subject, writes is the verb, and letters is the object. Subject becomes object, object becomes subject. Letters dash written dash Ravi. Verb changes to third form. Now what will come here? See, letters written by Ravi. So you have to follow the subject verb agreement rule. Letters are written by Ravi, and you have to follow a preposition by. Subject becomes object, object becomes subject, and the verb changes to third form. There is one more thing, the tense does not change. If the sentence is in present tense, it will be in present tense only. If it is in past tense, it will be in past tense. So, I'm reiterating myself. Subject becomes object, object becomes subject, and the verb changes to third form. Along with that, you have to follow subject verb agreement and the preposition by. Now we'll know how to passivize an active voice sentence. How to change an active voice sentence into passive voice sentence in a detailed manner. What we have seen in previous slides, it is just the gist of the chapter. But now we'll focus on each step properly. Generally, only those verbs can be passivized which have an object. Such verbs are called transitive verbs. So only those sentences which have an object, they can be easily converted into passive voice. Sentences: Ravi killed a snake. Now Ravi here is the doer, subject. The object is snake, a snake, and the verb is killed. Step 1 says, put the object in the place of the subject and the subject in the place of the object. So the subject becomes the object and the object becomes the subject. We have interchanged them. So step 1 is done. Step 2 focuses on two things. First thing is, you can never change the tense of the sentence. If a sentence in its active voice is in present tense, so in the passive voice also it will be in present tense. If it is in past tense, it will be in past tense. If it is in present perfect tense, it will be in present perfect tense only in passive voice. So you can never change that thing. Also, if you have used a certain modal auxiliary in active voice, in passive voice, the same modal auxiliary will be used. You cannot change it. The second part of this rule, of this step, says that no matter which verb is used, in your passive voice you will always have the third form of the verb. So let us have a look. Here, play or plays will become is or are or am played. See, this is, are, am depends upon the subject of the sentence. Like, he plays cricket. So in passive voice it will be, cricket is played by him. Similarly, do or does not play will become is or are or am not played. Then played will become was or were played. Did not play will become was or were not played. Is or are or am not playing will become is or are or am not being played. Whenever the verb is in its continuous form in active voice, in passive voice it will turn into being plus third form of that verb. Was or were not playing will become was or were not being played. Then has or have not played will become has or have not been played. Similarly, Had not played will become had not been played. Then the modals will remain same. Will become will, shall will be shall, would be would, should will be should. Modals do not change. Only the verb changes. So play will become played. There is one more thing. If you have used an to infinitive in your sentence, like here we have to play, it will turn into to be played. This verb be will be used between the main verb and the modal. So to play will become to be played. Play will become be played or should be played. So I hope this concept is clear. Step 3 says that you may have to use an appropriate preposition like by before the passive object whenever it is mentioned. Like Ravi wrote a letter was written by Ravi. Subject, object here. So the object will always have a preposition by along with it. See, subject in the passive voice change into these objects. I becomes by me, we becomes by us, you becomes by you, he becomes by him, she becomes by her, it becomes by it, they becomes by them, and if there is any name, for example Ravi, will become by Ravi. So I hope this step is clear. Step 1 clear, step 2 clear, step 3 clear. Now we have to remember the tense of the verb remains the same. Like Sheila sweeps the floor every day. This sentence is in present tense. The passive voice will be the floor is swept by Sheila every day. See, here we are giving importance to the tense. Now, Sheila swept the floor yesterday. This sentence is in past tense. Passive voice will be the floor was swept by Sheila yesterday. So, we have to remember the tense of the verb will remain the same. The verb has to agree with the subject of the sentence. Like I broke this toy. This toy was broken by me, whereas this toy is singular subject and the verb is singular verb. So always remember the verb has to agree with the subject of the sentence. I broke these toys. These toys were broken by me. Here these toys are plural. So the verb is also plural. So I hope this is clear. Let us have a quick recap. Subject becomes object. Object becomes subject. The verb changes to third form. The preposition by is used. The tense remains the same. And the verb has to agree with the subject. So this is it. Your class is over. Thank you. Stay home. Stay safe.